Okay, today we're looking at transformations from function notation. If you have any questions about today's lesson, feel free to shoot me an email. I should have chances to open it or to talk to y'all about it or answer any questions on Monday when I get back. So when we're talking about transformations, it's all about how a function is shifted or changed. So here's a list of transformations. I would ask that you take a second to pause the video, write all these down, get these in your notebook as references. By the time Friday rolls around, I may have a sheet with these printed out, but if I do not, make sure you have these written in your notebook. So let's go over each of them. So the first two deal with something being added or subtracted outside of the function, right? That shifts it up or down. So if it's outside and being added, it's up. If it's outside and being subtracted, it's down. The next two deal with inside the function, right? These are addition and subtraction inside, and these kind of go opposite of what you'd expect. So a -3 on the inside of the function shifts it right 3, and a +3 on the inside of the function shifts it left 3. Okay. The next two deal with reflections. A negative on the outside of the function reflects it over the x-axis. A negative on the inside of the function reflects it over the y-axis. Next, we're talking about multiplying things on the outside. So when you multiply something on the outside or divide, you are essentially doing that to the y values. So a 3 on the outside triples the y values, or y times 3. And a 1/3 on the outside, you take 1/3 of the y values, or y times 1/3. All right, or you could say divided by 3. All right, we call this a vertical stretch or vertical compression because you're stretching the y values or compressing the y values. Counter to that, we have it being done on the inside when you're multiplying or dividing on the inside, similar to how adding and subtracting on the inside does the opposite of what you expect. Same thing with multiplication and division on the inside. So a 3x on the inside, you're going to take 1/3 times the x values, and a 1/3 times the x on the inside, you're going to do 3 times the x values. These would be horizontal stretches and horizontal compressions. All right, so I want you to take a minute to pause the video and try and describe each of these transformations with just shifting up, shifting down, shifting left, shifting right, reflecting, multiplying the x's or multiplying the y's. All right, so take a moment, pause it. All right, and welcome back. So let's go through each of these. First one, it's adding 1 on the outside, so this is just shifting it up 1. Second one is subtracting 2 on the outside, so down 2. Third one is +4 on the inside, so that's going to be left 4. And the fourth one, we have -1 on the inside, that's going to be right 1. 5 and 6 both have to do with reflections. This is reflecting over the x-axis, so over x-axis. And this one is reflecting over y-axis. Now the next few have multiple transformations at once. With these, we're always going to do reflections first, then any stretches or compressions, and then shifts up or down, or left and right, translations. So the 3 on the outside tells us we're going to multiply y times 3, so y times 3, then down 1 for the y value or the -1 that's on the outside. For number 8, we do reflection first. That's a negative on the inside, so that's reflect over the y-axis. And then when you have 3 times x in there, you're doing the reciprocal of the x. So then 1/3 the x values. Okay. For number 9, we're going to do our multiplication or division first. So 2 times the x, then up 4. And then got a lot more going on with number 10. So we're going to reflect over the y-axis. 2 times the y, Then the -2 on the inside is right 2. And the +1 on the outside is up 1. Okay? So there are your answers for those. That's how we would describe each of these. On any problem that you're asking you to transform, I will always ask that you describe the transformation first before you start actually transforming anything. So let's actually look at our transformations. Now this sheet you should have actually picked up when you walked in. It should have been the note sheet you picked up. You also have a separate homework sheet, so make sure you got both of those. So we have points on the graph, and I would also recommend putting a point here as well, because that's going to be really important, because that needs to shift as well. So we want to describe our transformation first. This one, for example, is up 2. So we're going to shift all of our points on the graph up 2. So we have -2, 2 was the initial point, and we're going to go up 2 for that. So up 1, 2 would put us at -2, 4. Same with this one, up 1, 2. So we had 1, 3, up now to 1, 5. This one down here, up 2. So it was 2, 0, now at 2, 2. And then same for this one, up 2. So it was 3, 3, so now up to 3, 5. And then when we have all our points shifted, we're going to make sure to draw the exact same shape, but going through our new points. All right, I want you to pause the video and try number 2 now. Okay, welcome back. So for number 2, we're reflecting, and it helps us spell reflect, right? Reflect over the x-axis. So all that means is we're going to take every point above the x-axis and move it to the bottom, every point below and move it to the top. So this first point, it's up here at -2, 2, right there. We're going to flip it down here to -2, -2. This one at 1, 3 goes down to 1, -3. Now this one at 2, 0, it's on the x-axis, so reflecting it doesn't change it. And then we're going to go down to 3, -3 here. So we end up with these points, -2, -2, 1, -3, and then 3, -3, with a point steer here on the x-axis. So there's our graph. All right, try these 2 as well. Okay, welcome back. So number 3 is right 2. So we're just shifting all of them right 2. So this is what you should have gotten with your right 2. And then for number 4, remember we're doing the opposite when it's on the inside. So it's not doubling the x values, it's 1/2 the x, so 1/2 times x. So we're going to take all the x values and multiply them by 1/2, so that -2 there becomes -1. That 1 there becomes 1/2. The 2 becomes 1, and the 3 becomes 1.5. So a really compressed graph here. Now you can see why we call it a horizontal compression. It was like squished on the sides. Okay, for number 5, we have a 2 on the outside and a x minus 1 on the inside. And for number 6, we have a negative on the outside and a 1/3 x on the inside. So try these 2. Okay, welcome back. So for number 5, we're going to take the y values and we're going to do 2 times the y and then write 1. So we got to do both of these, and we always want to do the multiplication first. So for this one, we're going to double the y up to 4 and then write 1. Okay, double the y up to 6 and then write 1. Write 1. And then this one down here, this had a y value of 0. When you double it, you still get 0, but we're just going to shift it right 1. So we end up with this real tall thing that we have right there. Right 1. There we go. All right, so number 6, we're reflecting over the x-axis, and then we're doing x times 3. All right, so we have reflecting over the x-axis would bring this point, I'll do it on this graph, this point down to here, and then we're multiplying the x times 3, so that -2 becomes a -6. So right there. Same thing for this next one, we're flipping over the x-axis and then multiplying the x times 3, so that's going to become a 3, negative 3. Then we have a 6, 0. And this one's going to go off the graph a little bit. It should go over here to 9. That'll be where the other point is, somewhere over here. So we end up with this really long, stretched out graph that was flipped over the x-axis. Okay, this one, once again, we're reflecting and then we're going up 2. So try this one. Okay, so reflect over the y-axis and then up 2. Okay, so we're going to reflect over the y-axis. That means all the points are switching to the other side of the y-axis, like this. So we have, oops, let's just erase this. So we have positive 2 up 2. And then we're going to move it up 2, so it'll be up to 4. This will go up to here, and then here, and then there. So this is the graph you should end up with. All right, so we reflect it over the y-axis and then shift every point up 2. All right, last few for you to try. I will just put up a slide after this that has the answers. Pause the video, take a chance to try it yourself, and then check your answers when you're done. All right, so here's your final graphs. The A is down 1, the B is reflecting over the x-axis, right 2 and up 2, and the C is y times 1/2. Please send me an email if you have any questions. Stop by before school on Monday as well. I can answer questions there also. Y'all have a great day.